I was there with you when we first encountered Ronaldo. What was your memories of him coming to the football club?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the manager had to renew team. It was that long that he obviously had to renew teams, and it was brilliant at doing it. Obviously, Cristiano in the noughties, as we call it, don't we? I think it's 2003. Cristiano came, and we were both playing that game, weren't we?
Yeah.
We came back. We was on pre-season tour in America. I think we were absolutely knackered.
Remember what happened that day? We landed the plane. We went straight to the restaurant for food and then straight to the ground. We didn't even go to an hotel.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was we were knackered, weren't we? Absolutely knackered. We just had a 2.5-week tour or something, and we were opening the stadium.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was a brand new stadium in Lisbon, and look, we played. Our game was a disaster. I think
felt sorry for John.
Felt
sorry for John.
But did that Cristiano when we saw him? Jeez, we'd never seen anything like it.
No,
look, John O'Shea. Like you say, you just felt so sorry for him because I've never seen a lad with so much skill, so much personality to go with it, braveness. He wasn't the biggest of lads at that point, was he? And then we ended up signing him. I actually think he was going to stay there for a year on loan at first.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard there was already a deal done, wasn't there? And then
deal was done.
Played against us, and wow, get him.
Played against him. It was even half time. Everyone's talking about him. I remember Gary Neville speaking about it, and the manager was asking about him, and we just thought, wow, what have we seen?
Yeah.
And then the year after, he obviously brought Wayne as well. Yeah. I was a small part of that as well, actually, because we'd played with Wayne for England, hadn't we? And the manager asked me to ring him.
Yeah.
The manager sent me his phone number. He said, I want to sign him. So I rang him at home. It was weird. It was weird conversation. I never spoke to him really before. I'd only seen him for a day at England. I said, well, was it at Scholes here? Look, the gaffer really wants you. He's desperate to sign you. Well, what do you think? He said, yeah. Straight away, I'd love to come. And I think his agent was Paul Stretford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think from that point then,
they
were in. Look, I had nothing to do with it really, but at that point then they were in contact, and you thought.
I remember being with Wayne at the 2004 Euros.
Yeah.
And if you remember, in the warm up against France, I got injured, did my meniscus, so I was out for the whole tournament.
Did you? Yeah, I don't remember.
And then when Wayne did his foot, was it his foot he did in that? Was it his meniscus he did in the 2004?
His foot, yeah. Broke his foot.
So I had like a few beers with him in the hotel evening times, because obviously he couldn't play and I was on crutches. And I remember him being devastated, saying, "That's me moved, knackered, my move's done. I'm not going to."
Yeah, it was that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I said to him, "No, don't worry. The manager said he's going to buy you. He'll buy you."
Well, he did the same with Van Nistelrooy.
Van Nistelrooy, yeah. If he was going to buy you, he'll buy you. And I mean, I think he's not appreciated as much as he should be as a club. I don't know if that's the Liverpool-Manchester rivalry. I don't know what it is, but he was phenomenal, wasn't he?
Look, he was out of this world. And I just watched a couple of games this week, funnily enough. I was watching a bit of a Liverpool one because they're playing Liverpool this week. And the effort, just the sheer effort, we know the quality, but pressing people, tackling people.
Beast, wasn't he?
And he came into the team, and you think about it, because the team always had amazing centre forwards. I know you think Andy Cole, Dwight, they had them four, Sheringham and Solskjaer. It's so much to live up to, but he just came and he had the confidence and brashness about him. He didn't care about reputations, did he? His record as well. When you look back, is he leading goal scorer for Man United? 250 odd goals.
Yeah,
he was a little bit for England as well, but the influence them two had on the team, and not just them two. There's other people who came in. You think of Tevez at the time as well, and I always look back and I have a little bit of an eye. Gaz comes up a lot in this, doesn't he? He thinks the 2008 team was the best team.
Does he?
Tevez, Ronaldo.
It wouldn't be far off, would it? You couldn't really argue against it.
It won't be far off, but I always go back to 1990. I think of them 4 forwards. I don't know how you beat them 4 forwards, but they did come close.
But again, it's always like, we always do it the hard way. We always have drama and that.
Yeah.
Again, final, penalties. Fingers crossed, or do you think, again, there's something about us that's different to Chelsea?
Again, this might sound a bit weird. Even before the day of the game, I'm a bit different to people, mate. So I might think a little bit differently. And I thought, how can Avram Grant beat Sir Alex Ferguson's team? No, it sounds stupid. But I'm not even thinking about the players. Because Chelsea were a brilliant team.
Yeah, they were.
You think of Lampard, John Terry, Peter Cech in goal.
Yeah.
They were a brilliant team. Drogba up front, Ballack. It was a sensational team, but I just thought, looking at the bench, I thought, Avram Grant can't beat Sir Alex, there's no way. And it's a stupid way to think, 'cause of course it's possible. Any manager can beat anybody.
Yeah.
But that was just the way I was thinking that night. And again, it gets to penalties. I think we missed some chances in extra time. It should never really got to penalties. We should have won the game. And then you get to penalty, you think, again, 2 great goalkeepers. But our lads took some brilliant penalties. I think Giggs' penalty, Anderson, brilliant penalties, and obviously Edwin saved the most important one. But John Terry obviously slipped.
Yeah, done a little slip, didn't he?
Yeah.
She never slipped, mate.
It is a possession team. I don't think we were so much of a possession team. We had brilliant forward players and wide players at the time. I wasn't really a playmaker then. Do you know what I mean? You talk about being a playmaker. I wasn't then. I was more of a forward, trying to score goals and make goals all the time. So we didn't really have that balance.
I think you were 28 then, 29. You were in that...
29 when I finished, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think at 2004 you're 29 and you were at that point starting to control games in midfield.
I don't think I was at that point. I think it came around that point when I finished. And I was probably given the time at club level to transition into that, more of a sitting player. You don't...
But when you were playing with England, were your managers obsessed with possession back then?
Sven wasn't.
No.
Glenn Hoddle was.
Glenn Hoddle was.
Right.
And I think we played all right under Glenn.
Yeah.
Possession-wise.
You thought Glenn was the right type of football, didn't you?
I enjoyed it with Glenn, yeah.
But you just going back to that in terms of being pushed to the left, and obviously it's something that's been talked about now for many a year.
But sorry, Gary, can I just make... But when you're saying push to the left, you're not left winger, are you? You're not talking about someone...
No, and I did it loads of times.
Yeah, at United, that's what I'm saying.
I loved it, you know. I don't know what it was. It was totally different because maybe we had the players in the middle of the pitch at United who could control the game, and that helps you when you start left-hand side.
And you can go.
Yeah, you can do what you want, basically. Yeah. With England, I never felt there was that kind of control in midfield where you could relax a little bit.
How many games did you actually play on the left? Was it a lot? Was it just that tournament in 2004?
No,
or was it a bit before that?
I don't know, Jim. I couldn't tell you.
Was that tournament?
It wasn't loads.
Was it after the tournament? You just said, right, I'm done.
Yeah, it was after.
It was the day after.
The Portugal. Was it Portugal tournament?
Yeah, I remember you speaking to me in the morning just before Sven was doing his meeting and saying, "That's it, I'm done."
Yeah.
And I was like,
look, I went to see Sven. Yeah, we played. I felt I played badly, really, for quite some time. I didn't.
Was it because of the position you felt you was in?
No, it was absolutely nothing to do with the position. I just, because like I said, it didn't matter what position you played. It still don't mean you have to give the ball away, or
of course.
Do you know what I mean? Or be able to receive the ball. I still felt I could do all that, but I was so bad. My form was so bad. I think the first 18 games or something, I scored 9 goals for England, and then the next 40 games, I'd scored 4 goals or something. So it was just so bad, and I felt.
What was
horrible.
that the environment as well, Scholes? Was it just the whole, sometimes the package you're going away with international football? No?
You didn't like going away that much, did you?
No, I never did, no.
Like whatever, so you've got to be happy in the environment to get the best out of players, don't you?
Yeah.
I saw Kevin De Bruyne this morning said that he wants to retire, I think, or something like that. And it took me back, actually, to there's a point where I think it came with you, didn't it, where you just thought, that's it, you know, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't playing well. And when you're not playing well, you hate it.
But why were you not playing well? Because you were obviously playing well for your club.
Don't know.
But what's the reason? You know, you must have an idea.
I don't know. I don't know the reason.
You know what I'm saying?
If I knew the reason, I'd sort it out and play well.
No, my point is, though, was it a case of, obviously, you'll always look at yourself and you'll take responsibility.
Yeah.
But then, was there a case of, we were very much a rigid 4-4-2. You remember when Sven used to do his team talks?
4-4-2.
We were a 4-4-2. He would literally bring the 2 blocks back, he'd bring the 4 in.
Yeah.
He said, this is the shape that we're going to... He would, and it would literally be your 2 full-backs. It would,
but did you have an issue with that, I'm saying?
No, my point is, we played 4-4-2 at United, so it wasn't something that was actually foreign to us.
Right.
But my point is that with England, it felt very rigid and different, whereas with United, it felt like we could. Things did.
That's why I go back to the environment.
It didn't suit the players we had, did it, really?
It didn't suit the players we had, no.
Frank Steven, none of them are really that kind of controlling midfield.
I think it's interesting what you said, Scholes. I always think this, because you always obviously bring Scholes up when you're doing the TV and in the summer about we've never really produced that player. You played with England with Steve before Frank came along. It was you and Steve. I always felt that you were more. Maybe I'm not quite sure, but you were more the attacker one, and Stevie was seen as like the...
Under Kevin he was.
One.
Under Kevin he was.
Yeah, but even Sven, it was like Frank came a bit a bit later, and I always felt you were. So I don't think you ever played that role for England where you did for United when Carrick.
That's what I said before. I was never allowed time, and you don't get it in international level. You think of managers changing all the time, players all the time. I was allowed time to do that with United because I was never an athlete, was I? It was the last thing I was an athlete, so I couldn't keep doing that. I couldn't keep going forward all the time. At some point, I had to realise that I had to change my game to try and be controlling midfield, and that didn't happen until I was like 29, 30.
How good was Zinedine Zidane? Because it's you two for me, my best favourite players. It's you and Zidane. I'm not just saying that because you're here, but how good was Zidane?
Oh, the best. One of the very best that's played the game.
Yeah.
Silky. People don't give him credit for what an athlete he was, really. You talk about me not being an athlete. He was totally opposite. And he was big, he was strong, he was physical, control the ball with either foot, great pass of the ball, great goal scorer, header. He could do absolutely everything as a midfield player. It was something you didn't want to play against because I wanted to play against the best, but if you could have avoided it, you would have done. But again, for me, it wasn't really about playing against people because I was different. My game was in my head rather than having to be physical against someone around to try and beat somebody with a trick. It wasn't me. I had to find a way of getting space in my head so I can beat someone with a 1-2 or something. That's the way I had to play the game. So I never really worried about any opponent, and I didn't worry about Vieira and even though they were man mountains and physically and athletically stronger than me, it was up to me to find a way to beat them. I tried to do it.
So Scholes, you already retired once, came back, and you retired second time, 2013. What was that like when you actually knew that was going to be the end?
Yeah, well, I actually thought the first time was going to be end, and look, we've been over that story. I think the second, I came back for 6 months originally, and then the manager wanted me to stay on for another season. I think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Looking back, because I always remember, I think it was the first home game of that season, the last season of my second retirement was against Tottenham. I didn't actually play badly, but we got beat here 3-2. And I always remember playing, now this could have happened when I was 21, against Gareth Bale, who was just starting to really burst on the scene and was flying. I just remember him going past me 2 or 3 times and I thought, I can't compete with that. There's absolutely no chance. So I remember the day after being in the ice bath, you said these big inflatable things on, the pressure. I could have been there for 2 days, honestly. Yeah. After I played a game, I couldn't move for 3 or 4 days. Yeah. And that's when I knew that was the end, really. And it all came down. Look, it was a mistake to do that year because I think I played out 15 games, maybe not even that. I got a few injuries towards the end of it. The manager wanted to play in the last home game here.
Swansea,
the last home game of the season.
Must have been nice for you that though, to get you come off, was it 80, 86, 85 minutes?
Got a 60 odd, 65
standing ovation when you come off. So I know it's not something you'd like, but when you look back on that with your kids, it's a special moment for you, no?
Yeah, look, of course it's a special moment. It's something, as you say, I didn't really want. I'd rather just go away quietly, and thankfully, it was the manager's last game as well, which I think that helped a bit. That took a lot of the shine away from it, which was absolutely perfect. I think the manager did a speech afterwards, talking about bringing the new manager, accepting the new manager into the club. So it got me away. I could just get off lightly with that. Well, everyone says I was like a teacher's pet and never got him, but I did. I remember one in particular at Newcastle away. I was actually subbing the game. I think you might have left by then. Oh no, you might have been there. So I was subbing the game. I think we're getting beat 3-0 at half time. It brings me on with 20 minutes to go maybe. Get it back to 3-2, and I tried a flick in the middle of the pitch in the centre circle. They broke and scored. Alan Shearer scored the 4, make it 4-2. So we couldn't get back into the game, and he went ballistic at me. He went absolutely. And do you know when I got a bollocking Griffin or the airdryer as it was called, I took it. I didn't never answered back in my life. There were some people, there were some people that answered back all the time. I think you'd be one to answer back. But for some reason that day, I kept answering back. Yeah. But I didn't agree with what he was saying. So he kept saying stuff, and you'll never play for this club again, and all that usual kind of stuff. And I got back on the bus that night. I remember thinking, I'm gone. This me Monday morning, I'm signing for somebody else. But he ended up watching the game back on a Sunday, I think. And he came to me Monday morning. I thought I'm in big trouble there. And he actually apologised to me.
Yeah.
He said, I was wrong. You had an
told you he
influence
was
on
his
the
pet.
game.
I told you he was his teacher's pet.
Yeah, but you know there's some people that answer back. You'd answer back.
Not much.
I think Giggsy would.
Yeah. I think when you, well, personally, obviously you, when you think you're in the right, you answer back. But I could take it when I knew I was in the wrong. But I got a massive one. I probably remember it, Scholes. It was against Catholic is the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's a good buy. I think a lot of his team talks were not so much around individuals and of course there was people you was playing against, but like you said, the worth ethic, the team that needed to be a team together. I always remember a couple of his teams. He came in once and he looked around the dressing room. Honestly, it was about 30 seconds. It was brilliant, and he pointed at everyone and he said, "Look at the person next to you. Trust your teammate," and that was it. Yeah, trust him with the ball. Trust that he's going to get you out of trouble. Trust he's fight with you. And he always used to bring families into it. Yeah. Sometimes. I always remember him, I think you'd have gone, you didn't play with Patrice, did you?
No.
Patrice Evra. Because Patrice had about 25, 26 brothers.
Yeah.
No, seriously, he had a massive family. And he used to explain how they used to fight for food on the table. Yeah. So it just made you think how lucky you were that you didn't have to probably do stuff like that. But then he looked at Patrice and said, he's a fighter. Yeah. He's had to fight since he was 3 or 4 years of age just to get food off the table. And I think he took that into games, and it made you think, 'cause I wasn't a great listener to team talks, I must be honest with you. I used to zone out thinking about the game a lot, but there was always things like that stuck in your head that motivated you to go out and just do it. It was a brilliant way of speaking to you.
Yeah.
How can you say that Paul Scholes isn't one of the greatest midfielders ever? I played against Paul Scholes. I was lucky enough. Adrian's never stepped foot on a football pitch and he wouldn't have a clue about playing against someone like him. Paul Scholes was unbelievable. This man could do everything. He says he was a good passer. Listen, Paul Ince was a great player, very good player. Paul Scholes was on another planet to anyone I played with. Him and Gerrard, for me, were the two best players I ever played against. He had everything. Scholes could tackle. He could run.
Could he tackle?
Yeah, but he'd obviously go over the ball and some of his tackles are bad, but he could tackle. I just think you're forgetting, and people are so quick to forget the greats, and it annoys me when you talk about Van Dijk being the best defender ever, when you forget about Rio Ferdinand, who was unbelievable, and John Terry. People are very quick to forget about the past of the great players that played in the Premier League. Paul Scholes was unbelievable. He had everything, and Adrian's forgetting the fact that a lot of the time Scholesy ended up scoring 20. He used to score 20 goals a season. Yeah. I played against Paul Scholes and I walked off the pitch, so many times after playing against him, thinking I could not get near that man. And he had everything. He played the game on another level. Him and Gerrard, for me, were the standout performers of the Premier League. And it just annoys me when people forget very quickly of the greats that have played in the Premier League. When you talk about, Van Dijk and Kevin De Bruyne, who are fantastic players, great players. But let's not forget about the real legends that have played in the Premier League for a long period of time who won things that no one else have done.